And a good evening to you, everyone. The beginning of May 1st, 2024, live on the AGT network. I'm sorry, folks. Been a long day, long week as always. I'm Rich Mancuso, also live on my YouTube channel. Do like, comment, and subscribe. It's free. And this week, we are joined by viewers and supporters of Twitch, our newest social media handle here on Keep It in the Ring with Rich Mancuso, where we do the boxing, MMA, and of course the pro wrestling. And we are in the boxing season, the height of it right now, as well as the wrestling season and MMA. A lot going on in contact sports. We are your home for it, folks. My social media handles, bottom of the screen being scrolled throughout the program. I'll repeat it often. Ring 786X, which was formerly Twitter, Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso, and other social media platforms. Read me on LatinoSports.com. My content there, not only with contact sports, but all sports, including baseball. I'm there a lot right now at the ballpark. And also NewYorkSportsDay.com, among some of the sites I write for. And that important boxing calendar at the bottom of the screen being scrolled. Significant fights coming up in the next couple of months, including one that's taking place this weekend. You know, this is a weekend again where we are hot and heavy with boxing and pro wrestling. We have Canelo Alvarez and Jaime Munguia. That's here Saturday night on Amazon Prime pay-per-view and PBV. Payperview.com. An extraordinary price it is, $84, that pay-per-view, but worth it with a good undercard. We'll review it in a moment. And of course, WWE Backlash, the aftermath of WrestleMania 40, where a lot happened, and will it continue? We'll run down that card on the second part of the program tonight. So let's get to it. My great producer in the back, Carl Roberts, with the AGT network. You will see him later in the pro wrestling segment. And I want to thank him again and all of you for your continued support here. I'm Rich Mancuso. This is Keep It in the Ring. All right, let's get to it. Let's get to this weekend. Major fight on the calendar, talking Canelo Alvarez, the undisputed king at 168, against Jaime Munguia, the undefeated Mexican. The two of them today, a final press conference before the fight. There is to the right, Freddie Roach, the trainer of Munguia. Amazon Prime pay-per-view, their second one, putting this one together for you out there at the T-Mobile Arena, Cinco de Mayo weekend in Las Vegas, Nevada. Interesting today, right there, as you see, Oscar De La Hoya, the Hall of Fame promoter of Golden Boy, who is the prime promoter of this event, who has Jaime Munguia, and Canelo Alvarez, who we once had. They had some words. Canelo has no respect for De La Hoya. He made that known today. A lot of that obviously stemming from when Canelo was with Oscar De La Hoya on the Golden Boy and then decided to go on his own. Well, they went at it. They didn't go at it physically, but had some insulting words to each other. Tomorrow there'll be more. The fight is Saturday night against two of the top Mexican fighters in boxing, undefeated. Munguia at 168. Canelo, the face of boxing, who fights only twice a year, including Cinco de Mayo weekend. He is continuing Canelo Alvarez to continue his legacy, fighting the first of two this year again in September. When you look at the fight, anticipated tail of the tape. Styles make fights, both undefeated. Canelo, 33 years of age, Munguia, 27. Interesting part of this fight, two Mexican fighters, two of the best Mexican fighters in boxing, if not the best. Munguia with De La Hoya. And, of course, Munguia is also undefeated. Canelo is looking to stop that blemish of Jaime Munguia. And Canelo Alvarez, with all the legacy behind him, still looking at going at light heavyweight, but not against David Benitez. David Benitez, that's past all that now. He wants that rematch with Dimitri Bivol, where he got annihilated a few years ago. And Canelo 175 did not look as good as he would be here at 168. So there's a lot of heat going into this fight, not with Canelo and Munguia. They respect each other because they both want to do this not only for themselves, but they respect where they're from, that being the rich history of boxing in Mexico, where there have been so many trilogies with Mexican fighters, because Mexican boxing and fighters that have represented that country have become great champions and Hall of Famers over the years, including Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who, my friends, without a doubt, one of the all-time top 10 fighters of all time. I want to know your thoughts about that. Comment here and on the program and let me know. Now, when you look at Mexican fighters fighting each other in the past, it has happened, but maybe not of this magnitude in a long time. Both fighters have interesting styles. Munguia, of course, has a lot of power and speed. Canelo Alvarez likes to go to the body. Many would say that Canelo Alvarez's skills have diminished over the last few fights and maybe within the last year. He's getting up there in age, but my friends, he still has it. If you're not careful and he goes to the body, you're going to go down. Munguia, though, will be a good defensive fighter in this one and protect himself. I'm looking for this fight to go the distance. Many say with Munguia, the heavy underdog, that he might pull off the upset. He could. But I still see Canelo winning this by decision, very close, may not be unanimous. It depends on what the three blind judges at ringside, the judges say when it's all. But I don't see this fight going the knockout route. I see it going the 12-round distance. Very, very close fight. And I believe Canelo Alvarez retains at 168 all the titles as that super middleweight champion. We go back to these trilogies in the history of Mexican fighters. You can recall Eric Morales, Marco Antonio Barrera. Barrera won 2 of 3 of those fights. You can recall Rafael Marquez 4 times against Israel Vasquez. That wasn't a trilogy. That went 4 times. And Juan Manuel Marquez and Marco Antonio Barrera. I lived through that era of all these great fights of 2 great Mexican fighters together. Of course, Marquez and Barrera, WBC junior lightweight titles up for grabs. Will Canelo Alvarez and Jaime Munguia do the same? Will they force a second fight and possibly a third? My friends, that's very possible because they are both hungry, both proud Mexican fighters, and offer a lot to the table when they get in the ring. So expect a good one Saturday night, that being on Amazon Prime pay-per-view, their second one. Their first one was a great success just about a month ago. And also, you could look at this on payperview.com, where Jim Lampley, the established boxing guru host, remember, of HBO Boxing, Jim Lampley's a host on that pay-per-view forum. You might want to get that one as well. Again, the price a little steep, but the undercard, many have knocked it. I think it's pretty good. You have Stananos against Gabriel Mastre, and Stananos defends his WB regular welterweight title, alphabet stoop, but still a good fighter in the welterweight division. And he's facing a quality opponent. Mastre is a former champion. Mario Barrios and Fabio Medina. Barrios defends his WBC interim welterweight title. Again, interim before the WBC. They like to do that along with the WBA. But those interim titles usually lead to major title fights with the sanctioning organizations. And Brandon Figueroa and Jesse Maldonado, he is the former WBA super bantamweight champ. Those are the 3 main undercard fights on the pay-per-view. So if you buy this pay-per-view on Saturday night before Jaime Munguia and Canelo Alvarez, despite what some are saying it is being a weak undercard for the price you will pay, I think it's pretty damn good, my friends. You're going to see some good boxing on Saturday night on Amazon Prime pay-per-view and pay-per-view.com. Canelo Alvarez, to me, wins it via decision, 12 rounds, in a close, tough contest. Who will have supremacy among the top two Mexican fighters right now in the sport? Going to be a good one. I'm tuning in, and I hope you do if you love boxing as much as I do. So we continue, and we briefly look at the schedule from last weekend, reviewed another Golden Boy card as Oscar De La Hoya keeps his fighters busy and content. Many knocking De La Hoya that he doesn't take care of his fighters. Well, I disagree. I think he does. Canelo Alvarez today at that press conference before the fight with Jaime Munguia said and Canelo said that Oscar De La Hoya rips off his fighters and doesn't take care of them. Now, look, folks, I don't know what goes on behind the scenes. I do know this. That comment comes out of this animosity that Canelo Alvarez has for Oscar De La Hoya. I'm not a big fan of Oscar De La Hoya. I never was, especially with his drug issues in the past. Handled himself well as a Hall of Famer and now doing pretty darn good and getting more busy as a promoter, even with Ryan Garcia, the crazy head, as we know, in the sport. But Canelo has animosity with Oscar De La Hoya, and that's obviously caused those words to come out today that he didn't take care of his fighters. I know some fighters in the Oscar De La Hoya Golden Boy stable. They have not told me otherwise that he cheats them. I have not heard that from them. They're telling me the truth. I believe that because other sources inside tell me the same. Oscar De La Hoya treats his fighters real well, wants to keep them busy, most of all, wants to work with other promoters to match them up against top quality fighters so that boxing gets the fights that fans duly deserve. So that's Canelo's animosity to Oscar De La Hoya. Last weekend on a Golden Boy card, super lightweight Oscar Durante gave a pounding to the former champ Jojo Diaz in 9 rounds. He stopped him at 232. Durante lost his last now 5 or 6 fights. And Jose Ramirez in the Golden Boy stable, formerly with Top Rank, gets the 12-round unanimous decision over Rances Bartolome. Ramirez, 225 of 854 total punches to 112 of 438 for Bartolome. So Jose Ramirez may not look like the former champion he was as a lightweight, however, gets the win and moves on in his first fight with Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy. And Virgil Ortiz, the welterweight contender, also with Golden Boy for the first time, his debut, remained undefeated, 21-0, 21 knockouts. The former world title challenger, Thomas Domori, he beat him. Of course, the former junior welterweight champion now, Virgil Ortiz, now with Oscar De La Hoya, he's calling out Tszyu to fight him for a title. Right away after his win, he said he wants Team Tszyu. I don't know if, even Tszyu coming off a loss, I don't know if Virgil Ortiz is ready at 154 in his debut to go after Tim Tszyu. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Comment. Let me know here on Keep It in the Ring. I'm Rich Mancuso. My scrolling is on the bottom of the screen and my social media, X, formerly Twitter, Ring786, Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso. You can comment here on Keep It in the Ring. Most of all, subscribe on the AGT Network, my YouTube channel, Rich Mancuso, and now we're live on Twitch. So welcome in everyone watching on Twitch. And on the Zone, last weekend, 2020 Olympian Peter McGrail. He rebounded from a loss in December at the 10th round unanimous decision over British bantamweight champ Mark Leach for the WBA international title. That in England and the UK. A one-sided affair, if you saw it on the Zone. 190, 99, 91 twice by the 3 judges. Again, another interim title. However, those type of titles and those opportunities get you to the regular championship title status. Don't agree with it, but that's how the sport works, as you know. It's all about this, the money. All right, talking about money, Netflix, of course, coming up this month, rather in July 20th, with their debut in boxing and pay-per-view. And I'm talking about Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. And, of course, the undercard with champion Amanda Serrano, a part of MVP Promotions, and Jake Paul. Don't knock Jake Paul for what he does to propel the sport, but not personally for his career, as I keep telling you week after week here on the program. Fighting Mike Tyson is not going to advance his career. Jake Paul needs to fight legitimate fighters, and many are saying that more and more now. But Jake Paul obviously going here after the money and the history with Mike Tyson, fighter he admired a long time. Big disparity in age, as you know, and now finally you know how this fight is going to work on July 20th. It's been sanctioned, which is unbelievably stupid, by the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulations at the AT&T Stadium, home of the Dallas Cowboys in Irvington, Texas. Sanctioned fight. It is going to be heavyweight contested, 8 2-minute rounds. And how could you sanction something like that? My friends, this is a farce. It's nothing but an extravaganza. Who cares who wins this fight? Except if you want to see Jake Paul again, who's a social media sensation, and Mike Tyson, with all his illustrious history as a great former heavyweight champion and Hall of Famer at 58 years of age, who could get hurt. They're not going to wear headgear. But it's a sanctioned fight according to the Texas Department License and Regulation. It's going to be contested with 14-ounce glove, 8 2-minute rounds, which isn't boxing. It's 3-minute rounds. Ridiculous. 14-ounce gloves. Ridiculous. When it comes to money, though, to these guys, it's not ridiculous because you're going to buy into it. A lot of others, the boxing enthusiasts and the non-boxing enthusiasts, will buy into this. They want to see Mike Tyson. They want to see how perplexing an event this is going to be. They want to see Jake Paul, who needs to fight legitimate opponents to be considered, as he says he is, the best in the world. Well, that's not happening on July 20th because this is a total extravaganza that will make money. That's it. I don't even know how long it'll go. Tyson looks in great shape, by the way, if you haven't seen it on social media. Jake Paul also looks in great shape. But for 58-year-old Mike Tyson, what else does he have to achieve? Why does he do this? It's obvious. He needs the money. He's going to make a lot of money that night before the IRS takes a good portion of it from him. July 20th, it's now sanctioned. Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. I want to hear your thoughts. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's insanity. It's all it is, an extravaganza of money. Talking about money, where's the loyalty here? Terrence Crawford is waiting at 154 for August 3rd. And the reason I bring Crawford's name up in this is because his last fight was against Errol Spence Jr., where he defeated Spence, as you know, and unified the titles of 147, which are now vacated. Spence hasn't fought in over a year, and Crawford hasn't fought since then, now going to 154. But now Errol Spence Jr., just a few days ago, has decided, and he's done it, he's filed litigation against his trainer, Derek James, guy that he's worked with from the beginnings as an amateur. Filed a lawsuit, damages of $5 million of payment. Derek James has done that to Errol Spence Jr. based on that last fight with Terrence Crawford. Says he hasn't been paid. Spence, in turn, has filed a countersuit. It's terrible loyalty. I don't know who's right here because I haven't seen any of the official documents or the lawsuit itself. I will say this, that Errol Spence has gotten into some financial issues, hasn't fought. And, of course, he had a lot of battles out of the ring, almost lost his life because he likes to drive extravagant cars and race them. Derek James, though, I know, he's a stand-up individual. And if he hasn't been paid by Errol Spence Jr., that's a carriage of misjustice. But that's the latest with these two. Spence has had James from the beginning. Where is the loyalty, my friends? That's what this comes down to. And still, Errol Spence Jr. hasn't decided when he's getting in the ring again, while Terrence Crawford returns on August 3rd on the Zone. All of this caused our great friend Ryan Garcia to comment. He said to Errol Spence, "You got beef with my coach? You want to sue him? I want to beat you up." That's the latest from Ryan Garcia. His tweets continue on X since his big win last week. I mean, he doesn't go away. He's not posting as much on social media as he was prior to his fight with Devin Haney, but he's still doing it with ridiculous comments. There was still his love for Jesus, love of Christ, world news, healing. The world needs healing. And then this. Play sparring with the former president and candidate for the presidency again, Donald Trump. He supports Donald Trump. He raves about Donald Trump, about saving the world. And there he was this week with Donald Trump, play sparring. My comments about Ryan Garcia have been too much. You know how I feel about him. My comments about Donald Trump, I'd rather not say. I'm not going to get political here. But that's Ryan Garcia, who one day said, not too long ago, that he has his eyes on public office. Can you imagine Ryan Garcia leaving the boxing world and going into the political orbit? You know the old saying, my friends, boxing politics? That applies to that. I didn't know they were that good of a friend. But Ryan Garcia continues, says he wants to get back in the ring as soon as possible. No word yet on who or where or when, but I do expect him to fight again sometime this year and defend and try and get a title. Not defend. He wasn't able to get it because he failed to make way with Devin Haney, as you know. And he wants to fight again, but he's not a legitimate top pound-for-pound fighter or best until he gets a title around his waist. And he fails to do that because he wants to do what he wants to do. The latest I heard, again, as you've been hearing, no more 140, 147 maybe even 154. Still calling out Sebastian Verdura, the champion at 154. Ryan Garcia won't stop. Social media, Instagram, X, and he's going to give his views. But play sparring with Donald Trump? That's the latest. All right, let's go to UFC news and MMA. Let's take a look at the note about Conor McGregor. Going to get back in the octagon again soon, according to Dana White. And now he's the part owner of Bare Knuckles Fighting Championship. Bare Knuckles. That's making some money, and that's got a lot of interest. And we're going to have a Bare Knuckles champion contender on this program soon. Carl Roberts, my producer, setting it up for next week or the week after. But Conor McGregor, now a part owner of Bare Knuckles Fighting Championship. And the UFC returns to the UK. UFC 304, July 27th. UFC welterweight champ Leon Edwards will highlight that card. UFC in their season as well, the MMA. Saturday night in Brazil, UFC 301. The UFC flyweight champ Alexander Petra defends versus Steve Erceg. Hall of Famer and former featherweight champ Joe Aldo out of retirement. He's coming. Just like the fighters, UFC guys can't stay retired. Why is that? Money, of course. The lure of the crowd. This time in the octagon. They love it. Out of retirement will be Jose Aldo against Jonathan Martinez in a bantamweight clash. So the UFC is heavy. Boxing is hot and heavy right now in their season. The pro wrestling also as well. And we're going to get to that after the break. But first, I'm going to give you the fact of the week this week and give you the answer at the same time. It's not trivia. Carl, roll it. It's not fact of the week till it's fact of the week here on Keep It in the Ring with Rich Mancuso. All right, folks, here it is, the fact of the week. And, of course, it deals with March 17, 1990 in Las Vegas. I covered this fight, very controversial. And it was a late Meldrick Taylor, a U.S. Olympian, leading 2 out of 3 scorecards of the judges. But the referee then, if you remember, Richard Steele, stopped the fight 2 seconds remaining in the 12th and final round. And because we're talking about Mexican fighters, Jaime Munguia, Canelo Alvarez this weekend on Amazon Prime pay-per-view, we had to bring this up because the opponent to Meldrick Taylor in the controversial ending was the guy I mentioned earlier, Julio Cesar Chavez, one of the all-time greats. If you go back into the annals and you want to see this fight on YouTube or read about it, you see the referee Richard Steele obviously blundered here, and after that fight could never recover to be an established and good referee in the sport. Meldrick Taylor, the late Meldrick Taylor, was very talented. He was robbed with 2 seconds remaining in the 12th round. I couldn't retrieve images of the fight, but you can, and you'll see what I'm talking about. I covered that fight back on March 17, 1990, and to this day, me and a lot of other boxing people, the purists, the historians, those who are not around no more covering the sport, but are still around, many of the young people, young guys in this business now have to look it up. They don't remember it. Some of them weren't even born then, even in 1990. But I vividly remember it, and I vividly remembered how the referee Richard Steele robbed Meldrick Taylor, who was leading on 2 or 3 scorecards, but then just stopped this fight. Look it up. It's an interesting fight in history, one that Richard Steele, the referee, could never recover from. Of course, Julio Cesar Chavez moved on more and more as a great Hall of Famer, continued to fight with over 85 wins, I believe. The late Meldrick Taylor died unexpectedly, the Olympian, but a great fight it was until that stoppage. All right. Up next on Keep It in the Ring, we come back from this brief timeout. A lot of pro wrestling action going on, including Tony Khan and AEW, and what's going on there with the neck brace and him getting pal drived in the ring, and he's going to work now remotely behind the scenes. I'll bring Carl Roberts in and talk about that. Plus, WWE Backlash this weekend on Peacock. And did you see that? Peacock raising their rates on their streaming network? All about the money. That's all it is. We'll talk about that with Carl Roberts, go over the Backlash card, and much more when Keep It in Ring continues. My social media handles at the bottom of the screen: X, formerly Twitter, Ring786, Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso, and other social media platforms. Welcoming everyone this week for the first time, those viewing on Twitch and also live on the AGT network and my channel, Rich Mancuso, on YouTube. Please subscribe, like, and, of course, comment. This is Keep It in the Ring. I'm Rich Mancuso. Back after this brief timeout. Stay with us. Welcome back to Keep It in the Ring. I'm Rich Mancuso, and this May 1st, I can't believe it's May already, which means I'm getting older too because I got a birthday coming up in a couple of weeks. But it is May 1st. Wow, is time flying. And this is Keep It in the Ring live on the AGT network, on my channel, Rich Mancuso at YouTube, and welcome in those viewing on Twitch for the first time live here as you view Keep It in the Ring each and every week. And thank you for your continued support. Like, comment, most of all, subscribe, my friends. It is free on my channel on YouTube and the AGT network. Well, the boxing season, the MMA season, and it's the pro wrestling season all year round. But post WrestleMania, we'll talk Backlash in a moment. First, let's get to AEW, and let me bring in my great producer, who's a wrestling guru, Carl Roberts, who also does programs on the network, AGT network. When do fans see you again? And some pro wrestling stuff as well that you do all the time, Carl.
So our fans can see me tomorrow night with my co-host Costa on the Main Event podcast at 8 p.m. right here on the AGT network on YouTube, Facebook, and on Twitch. And
right. We're also on the Facebook Keep It in the Ring page, so we're all over.
Yes, we are.
We are. We're making an impact. Great.
Starting on Friday, strictly on Twitch, is wrestling. We're doing a watch-along for SmackDown.
And good. And you're also here with me on Keep It in the Ring every week as well.
Yes, sir.
Can't get rid of you, can we? Huh?
Nope.
That a boy. All right. I want to get right away into AEW first. And I want to talk about this guy, Tony Khan. The neck brace. The story of the week. Happened last Wednesday on Dynamite.
Well,
the Young Bucks come into the picture. First, Jack Perry. Looks like they're making peace. You know the story. Now Tony braces at Joe. No. This reminded me of Stone Cold Steve Austin. And the first time the boss, and everybody got great news. The boss got plowed by one of his employees, Stone Cold Steve Austin, what he did to Vince McMahon. This did not have the same magnitude. It caught me by surprise. However, Carl did not have that thumping magnitude of Stone Cold and Vince McMahon. I put that up on social media. No. But obviously now we know where this is going. The ratings picked up a bit on Collision on Saturday night and Rampage.
Correct.
AEW's desperate for storylines and great angles, and this one picked up some interest. We're anxious to see how Dynamite does tonight, which is currently airing now on TBS, and to see if any ratings picks up post Tony Khan now with the neck brace. And the NFL Network played it up as if it was real.
Right.
Because Tony Khan's an owner with his father of the Jaguars, and his father got involved in it. He got in the ring, showed the concern, played up really well. Your thoughts on this, Carl? Was it a ratings ploy? Did it have to be done?
I believe it was a ratings ploy because their ratings have been low for the past few months, and trying to get something back. And also, too, they just had that video of the confrontation between CM Punk and Jack Perry that a year later, you have one of the guys that's involved in that video is not even with your company anymore.
No.
So I think it was kind of a tactic to bring in the storyline with Jack Perry, but I love the way Tony Khan's playing it off.
He's to boost the ratings. He's not Vince McMahon when it comes to that. I never expected him to do that. I never expected something like that to happen, where Tony Khan would get involved in the action like that. He comes out, talks to the crowd, never says anything negative. And here it is, and all of a sudden, and this was his idea, got the blessings of the Turner Network, TBS, and so forth, to do this, obviously because they see as a ratings point, he's trying to get a new media rights deal, maybe a streaming network as well. There's a lot of talk still that might happen soon.
Right.
But they need it for ratings because their ratings are atrociously bad. And even the Zone that had AEW program this week dropped them completely because the ratings have been abysmally low.
Yeah. Way below 900.
So that answered the question for me as to why Tony Khan pulled that off. Will it be successful?
Let's see where we go from here.
I don't think it's going to carry over because I think a lot of wrestling fans are pulling away from AEW now with 5 years with the interest, despite Tony Khan saying that at an all-time high. They're not.
No. And it actually happened to be that there's a new era over in the other major promotion.
Yeah, we're going to talk WWE now because there's really nothing big going on in AEW. They've released some talent as well. They're cutting back a little bit. Not major names, but they have no consistency with what they're doing, too.
Right.
You know, where's Christian? He disappeared.
Yeah, you don't see Christian that much. You don't see Kill Switch or the big guys. You don't see them anymore.
No.
If it is, it's maybe once every 3 or 4 weeks.
And I tell you, I think fans are tired of seeing some of the old WWE superstars reviving themselves in AEW. That being Adam Copeland, Bryan Danielson, Chris Jericho still going at it at 53 years of age. Still looks great. His rivalry with Hook now is over, and now he's going to take who's he got taking under his wing now? Big used to be Big Cass in WWE.
Oh yeah. Bill Hennig, yeah. I can't think of his
but
name.
what I think, what I think is happening here too, before we go WWE Backlash and such, what I think is happening, we've read this, saw this on social media, Tony Khan might be hiring an enforcer to straighten things out because the Young Bucks are on this power play with Jack Perry now taking over, and it might be Kenny Omega because he's coming back. I think he might be back tonight. And MJF soon to return. So Tony Khan's going to have an enforcer, I think might be Kenny Omega to shape things up because there's going to be a power struggle. Who's running AEW? That's the big angle.
Right. I agree 100% on that.
And Kenny Omega is a fan favorite. They love him.
Yep.
And the Young Bucks are playing real well as the heels right now. Power struggle. Tony Khan's going to hire an enforcer. Tony Khan will be off the TV a while. He's supposedly doing the work remotely. Yeah, he's backstage. We know that.
Exactly.
The brace, the whole game, the whole thing, a ratings ploy, quickly will be forgotten. But let's not forget always WWE because they're always, with things going on, Peacock raising the rates. It doesn't matter. They're going on Netflix Monday Night Raw. They're changing everything in January. But coming off the heels of a great WrestleMania, we go into Backlash. That's what I mean. This Saturday is going to be, if you love boxing and pro wrestling, WWE Backlash on the Peacock Network at noon Eastern time because it's in France. It's at the LDLC Arena in France for the first time. They're going international with a lot of these PLE events. The four major ones stay in the United States, that being Survivor, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, and WrestleMania. And by the way, WrestleMania is still rumored to be in Vegas. They're talking Vegas now more.
Yes, I'm hearing that big time.
Which would be, I believe it should go there. Minneapolis can get another turn at it.
Well,
let's look at back.
Taking it away from Minnesota is because of Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, but in the talk is Lesnar. They're talking Lesnar comeback might show up at Backlash.
There's talks of it, but nobody knows for sure what's going on.
And there's talk at Backlash of that. Talk at Backlash Saturday call also of Randy Orton turning heel on Kevin Owens. There's a lot of talk. There might be turns coming out of the draft. Let's first look at the WWE draft, which I thought was anticlimactic. It was basically predictable. Yes. And no Rhea Ripley. Why wasn't Rhea Ripley on the injury list drafted anywhere? What's the story with that?
So if you are on the injured list, you are automatically withdrawn from the draft.
What
So
did you
they've been
make of the
pushed out
draft,
for a
Carl? I
while.
thought I thought it was anticlimactic. They kept talent where it had to be to develop the feuds again. Case in point, you're going to see Dominic Mysterio and his father again, Ray, going at it eventually, and I think you see the breakup of the
Judgment Day.
Judgment Day. That's inevitable. Damian Priest turns good too. That's coming. Been
Well,
rumored. You
especially
see that coming.
after what he said to Dominic and JD is, I don't need you, you need me. Right there, that's the start of the turn of Judgment Day starting to show the cracks.
Yeah, and the biggest draftee that I liked coming out of NXT, Dragunov,
Yep.
and he I think is going to align with Gunther
Yes, I
and be a
believe.
part of that. And I
He
can
will
see
be in a new
Gunther becoming the new king of the ring. That's coming up as well.
Yeah.
So he'll help him with that. So I love Dragunov, and I think it was his time. So he's out of NXT now. And the female talent come out of NXT now on the SmackDown roster as well.
Yes. I think the ones that got drafted from NXT actually have shown the potential to move forward their careers. I wouldn't say give them a title shot right away, but I could see within a year down the road a title shot for each of them.
Yeah, the NXT has been great with Shawn Michaels and a lot of that talent now getting their play there with the big boys now on the main roster, which is nice. But let's move on to Backlash coming off the heels of the WWE draft. PLE event, 12 noon Eastern from France. WWE Backlash. Carl, that's not good for you. I should talk.
I still have my vape too.
I should talk. Doctor, my doctor, please, I hope you're not watching this.
Mine too.
Comes with the business. What can I tell you? Yeah. Backlash. All right, let's take a look at the matches. Let's look at Cody Rhodes, his first title against AJ Styles.
Now,
Rhodes retains. Interesting, but Styles is just there as the first and only last time he's going to shot at Rhodes. Talk about Rhodes turning heel also, which I don't think will happen, but interesting matchup. Rhodes retains.
Yes, 100% Rhodes retains. Now, the interesting part about this is that AJ Styles was also the first opponent of Roman Reigns when he won the title.
Yes.
And
Roman, they talk maybe Roman Reigns will come in. There's talk. We're going to get to Roman Reigns in a moment because there's talk of him coming on in Backlash. There's a rumor that he might be there and immediately turn face. But let's go to the second match.
But hold on one second. AJ Styles is also the final opponent of The Undertaker.
Good point.
So this is a big one for AJ Styles.
Good point. Damian Priest with his first title defense of the world title against Jey Uso. Now, talk about Priest. He might end up turning babyface Saturday. Something maybe with the faction of Judgment Day may cause that. And Uso might not going to win this title, but he might get help from the new alliance of the new bloodline. We might see that develop Saturday because they're going to get into SummerSlam after this.
Well,
what do you think?
I predict that Damian Priest is going to win. Okay, Judgment Day is going to interfere somehow, but you're not going to see the bloodline come after him unless they're coming out to attack him and do to him what they did to his brother.
Yeah, we're gonna go into that bloodline match on the card as well.
Yep.
We're going to review that in a moment. Next, I think we're going to look at Bailey, newly crowned women's champ, Tiffany, and Naomi, WWE Women's Title, a triple threat. And the Bailey retains, and it's going to be. This is a good triple threat in the female division.
Yes. This is going to be a tough one for Tiffany. I don't see her really doing much in this one. It's basically going to be coming down to Bailey and Naomi.
And then you got the Kabuki Warriors, and this is interesting because you're going to see Belair and Jay Cardo teaming for the first time for the titles. Will there be friction between Jay Cardo and Bianca Belair?
I believe they're going to tighten. They're going to be so tight that they're actually going to win those titles.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see them winning, and then they're going to have dissension, and that becomes a great feud with Jay Cardo and Bianca Belair. Look, Jay Cardo, she's still learning.
Yes.
And she's got a good one teaming up with Bianca Belair. All right. Which leads us to one of the main events, the final match. They have 5, which is interesting. They don't want 5 on this PLE event Backlash.
Right.
So we're not going to see Sami Zayn. It was rumored against Gable for the IC title. They're going to save that, keep milking that. Theory and Waller against the Street Profits. They talked about that. They might add it. And R-Truth DIY and the World Tag titles up for grabs there. They might milk that and go into SummerSlam with that. But this is one that has everyone's attention because it's the bloodline. And leading more, will Roman Reigns show up? The Power, who is the tribal chief. But you have Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. Rumors amongst that Orton will turn heel and turn on Owens.
Right.
The bloodline knew of Sikoa and Tonga showing their force, who the tribal chief is. This I have my eyes on, and so do a lot of others, for this Backlash kind of semi-main event.
I did not see this, so this is my fault. But we do get the Intercontinental Championship, Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable.
Okay, so they did add that, so there's 6.
Correct.
6 matches.
There's more.
Okay.
You have the WWE Tag Team Championship, 8-10.
Right.
Austin
and Waller against the Street Profits.
Correct.
They added that. So that's number 7. Did they add R-Truth and DIY?
Yes.
So now we have 8.
Correct.
At noon Eastern time, WWE Backlash on the Peacock Network. All right, so Zayn and Gable, the title's not changing. They're going going at it. They're going to keep. They're going to milk that into SummerSlam. Something will happen. Yeah, Darian Wall against the Street Profits for the tag titles. Is this their time for the Street Profits?
I would say yes, but here's the thing. These are predictions that it might happen there. They have not been confirmed that they're going to happen.
Well, they want to keep
that we just talked about.
They want to milk these
the tag team championships and the Intercontinental. They're talking about possibly putting it there, but it might be Monday night.
Yeah, because they want to milk some of these things till SummerSlam to keep things going. Most of all, the big storyline again is Roman Reigns and the tribal chief when he's coming back, and who has control of the bloodline. Is it going to be Reigns or Sikoa? And it's more and more looking like Jimmy and Jay are going to align again, and they're going to rival with Roman Reigns, and rival the new bloodline, Sikoa, Haku, and whoever, plus the other brother.
You have Jimmy and Jay, and then Sikoa is their brother.
So WWE Backlash, the aftermath of WrestleMania, will it be as good as WrestleMania? Probably not. Will the storylines be interesting? Yes. The carryover continues as they head into SummerSlam in July. So this is a good beginning to it. I have my eyes on it Saturday.
Now,
I know you will, Carl, and many others.
Here's an interesting tidbit, and I brought it up, I believe, last week to you, but also on the Main Event podcast, I did say this. Roman Reigns, back in December, said if anything happens to him, the new tribal chief is Sokoa.
Interesting point.
Paul Heyman.
Let's see where it all plays out, because Paul Heyman, of course, a big part of this, a lot of decision-making on this continuing storyline that's been very successful for WWE. Backlash, Saturday, Peacock Network, 12 noon Eastern. Remember that, from London. Carl, thanks as always for your insights, helping me out with the wrestling segment as we close this part of Keep It in the Ring. You'll stay with us with everyone else. We're going to take a brief break, wrap it all up. Nostalgia time. I got a lot of that as we close out the program after this brief break. I'm Rich Mancuso. Let's Keep It in the Ring. Live on the AGT Network, my channel on YouTube, and first time to you Twitch viewers, welcome in. Stay with us. Back in a moment with Nostalgia. And welcome back in to our final segment of Keep It in the Ring this Monday, May 1st. I'm Rich Mancuso. Keep It in the Ring, as always, live on Twitch for the first time. YouTube, my channel, Rich Mancuso. Keep It in the Ring page on Facebook and the AGT Network. Like, comment. I want you to comment. And subscribe. It's free. I'd appreciate that as well. All right. Nostalgia time. I love doing this every week now, and you have told me you want me to continue to do it. Go back in boxing history a bit, and first take a look at this. You know, we've been talking about Canelo Alvarez because he's got the fight with Jaime Munguia to his defense, unified at 168-pound titles, Saturday on Amazon Prime pay-per-view. Now, the first major event at the T-Mobile Arena where this fight is on Saturday night, where Canelo loves to fight, happened May 7, 2016. Carl put it up. It was Canelo Alvarez against the since-retired Amir Khan. There's the official press pass. I covered that fight as well. Saturday, May 7, 2016. Alvarez's WBO first title defense, won it over Khan in a 6-round knockout. Of course, Canelo is now looking at disposing Munguia and maybe fighting again at light heavyweight, as he says, looking at Dimitri Bivol in the revenge match where he lost to Bivol in 2022 for the light heavyweight title. Canelo better stay at 168. He can't be a light heavyweight, never beat Bivol. But that was Canelo Amir Khan. Nostalgia history. And then there's this one that I have a personal effect with because I knew him well. Everyone knows how my friendship became with the late champion Diego Corrales. And we're approaching that famous epic fight, the last of the trilogy, the first of the three, with Diego Corrales and Jose Luis Castillo. May 7, 2005. This put Diego Corrales on the map, as you know. Epic fight. Many will say perhaps the best in boxing history. Showtime analyst Steve Albert, a friend of mine, and we remain friends, said this was the best fight he ever broadcasted ringside. Diego Jose Luis Castillo, 10th round, epic fight to unify the WBC, WBO light heavyweight titles in Las Vegas. There's Diego with the belts. Went down twice in the last round. got the TKO, suddenly stopped. The mouthpiece came out of his mouth twice, saved him perhaps on the mat. Still an epic fight. Still an epic fight for Diego Corrales. Got his championship. And after that, things went downhill. 2 other fights with Castillo. The weight issues came into effect with both fighters. And, of course, Diego Corrales, just a few years later, tragically, his life ends. We're coming up on that anniversary as well. Sad story. There it is. There's Diego's first signature autograph to me, Rich Mancuso, that I still proudly have, that I still look at every day over the Everlast boxing glove. Epic fight for Diego Corrales, May 7, 2005 in Las Vegas against Jose Luis Castillo. If you've never seen it, it's all over the place on YouTube and other social media channels. Watch it. Watch the courageous Diego Corrales come back, how he possibly saved himself by spitting out the mouthpiece twice on the mat. But then all of a sudden in that 10th round, did something we thought we'd never see. It was an epic fight. Of course, Jose Luis Castillo was a formidable champion and contender. Diego Corrales, of course, fought Floyd Mayweather Jr. and lost. He tried numerous times to get the title. This was the one. But then things after that, and the tragic loss of a great fighter and also a friend. And we're approaching that anniversary of his death. It's hard to believe that happened in 2012. And I still remember it to this day. When I got news, I was stunned. Not only did I admire Diego Corrales, but I admired his friendship as well. He was a human being by heart and knew the sport well. He fought from the bottom to get to the top and did it well. Life ended too soon in a tragedy, but at least he can always say, and we can always say, he was a part of boxing history, one of the most epic fights in boxing history, and was a champion. Take a look at that fight if you've never seen it. Finally, on the nostalgia reel, this image with me and the former heavyweight champion Hall of Famer Larry Holmes. And in the middle, Saul Mamby, the only 6-decade fighter in boxing history. Had a couple of minor titles in numerous weight classes. A Bronx guy like me. Just died recently, a few years ago, passed away. There I am with the great Larry Holmes. We're talking boxing, with the shop as we call it, at an event where Larry Holmes was honored as Fighter of the Year by the American Association for Improvement in Boxing up in Rye, New York. Larry Holmes still out there. Larry Holmes was the epitome of a heavyweight champion. Classic individual inside and outside the ring. Now retired, still keeps his eyes on the sport. Never thought about coming back like Mike Tyson is doing with his fight now with Jake Paul, which is just an extravaganza, as I've said, about money. And Larry Holmes and I had some nice talks over the years. That one I'll never forget. That was 2004, I believe. You could show that picture again. Show that image again of me, Larry Holmes, and Saul Mamby. Carl, there it is. I was wearing a suit, which I don't wear much often again, and I had start to lose my hair more. But just take a look at how Larry Holmes and I were engaged in conversation, and Saul Mamby was taking it all in. I love that photo. It's in my history page and will be part of a book if I ever get it finished soon. So that's the nostalgia report for this week on Keep It in the Ring with Rich Mancuso. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed this fast hour of boxing, M&A, and the pro wrestling with me and Carl Roberts, my great producer who puts up with me each and every week. We're live here. We'll let you know when we're again next week on Twitch for the first time. Thanks to the Twitch followers and supporters for tuning in tonight. And to those watching live on the AGT Network and my channel, YouTube, and the Keep It in the Ring Facebook page, like, comment, and subscribe. It's free. We'll be back next week. Watch the social media pages to see when we're going to be on live again. And as always, we'll do what we got to do to keep you informed, and we'll analyze the Canelo Alvarez Jaime Munguia title fight this Saturday night, Amazon pay-per-view from Las Vegas. Canelo looks to continue his legacy and retain the titles at 168. Two undefeated Mexican fighters, the top two possibly Mexican fighters in the world. It's going to be a great fight. Again, my pick, Canelo by decision, but a close one. We'll see how it transpires. So, my friends, till next week, always take care, be good to yourselves. And as always, here on the program, as I say, for my producer, Carl Roberts, and myself, what do we say? Keep it in the ring, everyone, till next week. I'm Rich Mancuso. Catch my social media as well. Ring786 Twitter on X, Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Take care, everyone, till next week. I've said enough. Keep it in the ring. Thank you.